You've been hearing hype about the new Godzilla versus Kong movie. The hype is fucking real. The Super Bowl, fuck the Super Bowl. Me care about Kong versus Godzilla. And yeah, it kind of looks pretty fucking cool. I kind of want to see it, but it's probably not gonna be a good movie. But I'm fucking there for the action. I care about fucking a fucking giant what do you call it? Radioactive lizard fighting a fucking giant gorilla, fisting each other, sucking dicks with each other, and just going all out, blood, tits, and cum on the streets. I kind of care about seeing that, but I joined my every time I go on like TikTok and shit like that, and like fucking go on my Discord, not my personal Discord, not LG Party's asshole. Speaking of that, that'll be in the link in the description below if you want to join, and then fucking uh, and I'll join my other friends' servers like Benji and Dennis Midwest and all them, and I'll join their server and they'll talk about Kong a lot and yeah, Kong versus Godzilla. It's pretty interesting shit. I kind of like to hear what they like to say about it because I don't really know a lot, but I learned a shit ton about like them when because they would always have debates like, oh, Kong would win, Godzilla would win, Godzilla would spread Kong's asshole open and just fucking atomic breath right up his body. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about a few theories today because these are absolutely crazy. So this is the podcast that I was watching last night. It's it's my friends Benji, Dennis, and Nerdy. They have YouTube channels as well. Their channels will be in the link in the description below. Go check them out. They'll put some meat on your bones, make your dick bigger, make your third eye open, and all that stuff. They're pretty good YouTubers. I like them a lot. But when I was hearing him talk about all this stuff, about the Kong versus Godzilla stuff, it was pretty like amazing what they were coming up with for theories. It was pretty creative and like cool stuff that they were coming up with and shit like that. Like how Kong's like axe is one of Godzilla's spikes in his back. That's why the atomic breath was deflecting off of it. That's a really cool one. That came from Nerdy's big brains. He's gonna get some puss after that one, because that's a big brain conspiracy that came out of his mouth. Mouth. But yeah, it was pretty crazy, and Nerdy, the one on the bottom, and Dennis on the right, they're having a little discussion like, oh, I think Kong's gonna win. Oh, I think Godzilla's gonna win. They weren't like gonna like, go to war, but they're gonna pull on each other's wieners, blood, tits, and cum flying everywhere. But like they were sort of disgusting and like debating like who's gonna win. But then they watched the trailer. Ben is more of like a moderator, so he doesn't really have an opinion about this. So yeah, it was pretty crazy and pretty cool of what I heard from the podcast. I want to start out with like, if none of these theories are real and one of them does end up getting killed by each other in the end, I want like what I'm thinking is like fucking. I'm not sure which one would win, but I want to talk about like them as characters and them as monsters, like strength, abilities, like intelligence and shit like that. When it comes to intelligence, Kong is much smarter. Kong's got that way of he's blown Godzilla out of the water with intelligence because like Kong has a much bigger head than Godzilla, so Kong's got a bigger brain than fucking Godzilla. But Godzilla's smart. Godzilla's pretty smart. I'm not saying he's dumb as fuck, but yeah, he's a pretty smart creature, but not as smart as Kong. Kong will use anything of his surroundings, and he knows fighting shit around him. You know, or he knows his surroundings, and he can use his surroundings as like a weapon. I guess that little thing that he smashed Godzilla's head with, that's not like off of a building. That's his personal weapon. But yeah. But when it comes to Godzilla, he's pretty clever. He's got some tricks up his dick hole, or down his dick hole, excuse me. And then so like what he'll do is he'll use like atomic breath, or he's got his ginormous long tail, and he's got a tail whip, and he'll fucking trip and fucking break Godzilla's ankles by making him fall and shit like that and stuff. Yeah, the atomic breath shit. But yeah, when it comes to intelligence, Kong's the winner. Let's talk about aggressiveness. So when it comes to aggressiveness, like Kong is pretty fucking aggressive, and Godzilla is very aggressive as well. Pretty much their motto is like fight to the death, pretty much for both of them. And when it comes to fighting to the death, that's like pretty good, I guess. Like for example, I don't really know exactly what the name of the monster was in King of the Monsters for or Godzilla 2. I'm just gonna call it a Hydra because it has three heads and it grows back every time, but it doesn't grow more heads. The heads just keep growing back. But anyways, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna need water for this because I'm talking a lot. When it comes to fucking the aggressiveness, I think it's a draw because Kong, like the amount of times I've seen Kong, he's never backed down from a fight, and I don't think he's gonna back. He's definitely not gonna back down with a fight with Godzilla because Godzilla is gonna be his hardest opponent yet. Like back in Kong Skull Island, he was much smaller because he was like a teenager. Now this is like 50 years later. That's why he's the same size as Godzilla now because he's grown. And since he was a teenager, and his family was killed by by monsters that Kong killed in Skull Island, he never backed down. And also, when it came to an octopus in the movie. Yeah, there was an octopus that he killed. It was like the Kraken or a giant squid. Kong attacked first. He pretty much assaulted it, and then he like fucking crushed it with his like hands or something like that. Yeah, and they're both a draw on the fucking aggressiveness. But I didn't speak about the Hydra. At least I don't think. Like when it came to the final battle or the first battle with the monsters, Godzilla was there in Antarctica and he fucking never backed down. He fucking sprinted right towards the Hydra and then fucking tried to kill him. And then when it came to that other fight scene when it had the fire dragon and then the Hydra, or the Hydra was like going after a ship, but then Godzilla interfered and tried to drown him. So he started the fight first, and then it was the final battle in Boston, Massachusetts, and then Godzilla ran fucking very fast. He was like zooming through the city, killing everybody in his path, or not everybody, the buildings in his path, and to fucking destroy the Hydra. He did manage to get the Hydra, or kill it easily, but he also was assisted by Mothra, but still, he's put up a good fight, but I think the Hydra would have also killed Kong if it was Kong and shit like that. Hang on, I'm gonna take a quick breath. Now, when it comes to abilities, for abilities, excuse me, Godzilla's won that one because, like I said, he's got the atomic breath and shit like that, and I don't see Kong having atomic breath. I know his pretty much ability is just intelligence. That's just pretty much it. And I already discussed intelligence, and Kong's already won that shit. But yeah. And then, but yeah, he's got the atomic breath, and he also has now that like nuclear radiation fire explosion shit that he killed the Hydra with. And like, since he's got that, he can possibly use that against Kong. And I think that's gonna be a massive I think that's gonna affect Kong a lot. For him to be like turning into a fucking crisp, I think that'll affect him a lot and shit like that. So Godzilla's one on the abilities. Strength-wise, I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory. Kong's won that. I don't think I need to explain why, but I will give you this fun fact. Since Kong's a gorilla, they can lift up 10 times their body weight. I'm not sure how much Kong weighs in the new movie, but I know in Kong Skull Island he was 158 tons, so that makes him 316,000 pounds. Godzilla weighs about 90,000 tons since the first Godzilla movie. Yeah, 90,000 tons, so you have to multiply that by 2,000. And since Kong's much bigger now, he's probably going to be able to lift up Kong, and I'm not sure how Kong weighs now, like I've said, but if we multiply 90,000 with 2,000, because 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, and 90,000 tons, you gotta multiply 2,000, so that would be 90,000 times 2,000. So Godzilla in that movie weighed 180 million pounds. Jesus. Yeah, that's a big boy. Maybe Kong's able to lift him up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how a carrier was able to withstand Godzilla's weight if he weighs 180 million pounds. I'm not sure. But yeah. But still, Kong still wins the strength test. When it comes to intimidation, I think Godzilla's won that because he's a fucking giant fucking crocodile, like 400-foot crocodile monster thing. I'd obviously be scared by it, and it has a pretty awesome sounding roar, and it destroys everything in its path. And yeah, so I think Godzilla's one that, even though Kong's pretty fucking scary, he's just a giant gorilla. Godzilla's like something we've never seen before, so he's a big giant dinosaur. I think I'd be shitting myself if I've seen him. Even though it doesn't really like do anything for like combat wise. I'm just throwing it out there. He's pretty intimidating, so I think Godzilla's one with that. I'm gonna talk one more thing. I'm gonna talk about like, I understand I talked about intelligence earlier, but when it comes to like critical thinking and like battle and like quick thinking for battle and stuff like that, I'm not sure. I think it's a pretty good draw and stuff like that, because when it came to that's my dog barking. Sorry if you can hear that. When it came to Kong versus or Kong Skull Island, and he was fighting monsters, or when he was fighting the last monster, that weird like reptile thing that killed his family and stuff like that, he grabbed his surroundings. He grabbed a tree. He grabbed like an anchor from an old like ship that's been like shipwrecked and stuff like that. He grabbed the anchor of that. He used like that with his ability, and he knows pretty much how to kill his enemies. He grabbed its tongue and ripped it out of its mouth, or ripped it out of its body with its organs and stuff like that. Kong's pretty smart. When it comes to Godzilla, he's got like more abilities, and he knows that they're very usable, and they're easily accessible because it's part of his body, like his tail whip, his atomic breath. The tail whip, for example, in the first Godzilla, when he killed the first creature in the final battle, I don't exactly know what the name was, but when it was trying to fly towards him, Godzilla tail whipped that, tail whipped it against a building, killing it, and stuff like that. And then with the second one, he grabbed the other one, opened its mouth, and shot atomic breath down its body, causing its head to come off. So it like decapitated him pretty much. But yeah, and also when it comes to Godzilla using his stuff or like surroundings, he'll just shove him right through a building, and that will hurt Kong really badly. And also when I say surroundings, like the area they're in. When it comes to a city, Kong probably has more of an advantage over that, because he's a gorilla. He can just kind of, I don't know, like sort of jump around everywhere. But I think the buildings would sort of collapse if Godzilla sort of like jumped on top of him. So I'm not sure. But maybe Godzilla's like light, or I mean Kong's light enough to like jump around on the buildings and stuff. And but Godzilla would also just probably just ram him right through the building. So yeah, and you destroy every building in the path. When it comes to water, when like the first battle, I'm not sure, because like because I think Godzilla would win that, because Godzilla could possibly easily drown him. So the first battle, what I think it's gonna go, like what Nerdy said, when he jumps into the water, because Godzilla destroyed it with his atomic breath, he jumps into the water, there's nowhere to go. Godzilla comes back up and brings him down. He tries to drown Kong, and then Kong manages to escape by ripping off one of its spikes in Godzilla's back. That's why he has an axe. That axe is Godzilla's spike and stuff like that. It's not a piece of metal. It's one of Godzilla's spikes like, strapped onto a stick, like a giant log or a tree. So that's what it is. That's what that little piece is, and that's what he striked Godzilla's head with, one of his spikes, because that's what was used to like store like the atomic beam or the breath shit. So like that's why it was sort of deflecting off of the piece of the axe, because it was his own spike and stuff like that. So yeah, and but it comes to the wilderness, I'm totally not sure. Maybe, well, Godzilla would probably just grab, not Godzilla, Kong would grab a tree and is nearby and just probably beat the crap out of Godzilla with it, and stuff like that. But there's also more mountains, so Kong can easily climb more stuff, and it's not gonna break. Godzilla could possibly do that too, but Godzilla, uh, I'm not sure about him climbing stuff, but I know he is really fast. The reason why I'm not sure about him climbing stuff, because he's really big, but also Kong's really big. But Kong is fat. Kong is uh, possibly a little slower. I don't think he's. I'm not sure, because Godzilla was really fast. I'm not exactly sure how fast he was, but Kong's also fast as well. But Kong is stronger. He can lift himself up onto like mountains and hills. But Godzilla, I think, would have a much harder time with that. So, uh, I think it's a draw when it comes to that. Now, let's get on to the theories. Alright, anyways, we're at deep breaths, okay. So, my friends keep making a theory, like in their podcast recently, like last night. They keep making the theory about how there's going to be a Mecha Godzilla and a Mecha Kong, and how they're gonna have to fight the mechas, and like, and that could possibly be true because if you go to the timeline 142 on the Godzilla versus Kong, the trailer, you'll see like a guy and a computer behind him. There's codes, and right next to the codes were like 2 feet. They were like feet. They look like Godzilla feet, sorta. And and also, which made me think like, oh, it's gonna be a Mecha Godzilla, but that could also be false. But it pretty much looks like that. Yeah. So there could be a Mecha Godzilla and a Mecha Kong. It could be that could be happen as well. But what's different is that Godzilla has really fat and chunky feet, and he has little toes. The robot that I saw had ginormous toes, like more of like hand-like toes or hand-like foot, and they kind of look like fingers, more like a gorilla would have. So it may be a Mecha Kong and shit like that. And yeah, but it also could be wrong. It could be the different model for a Mecha Godzilla. That's just a theory. They'll fight them out. But but what if there's another monster? So the reason why I think that is because this is my theory a little bit, but I bet other people have this theory as well. The reason why there's another monster is because there was a girl that said the myths are real. There was a war. They're the last one standing. I think she's wrong. I think in the movie one of them is about to execute one another, and I have a feeling that at the same time they feel some disturbance in the force, pretty much, I guess, if you want to say it like that. There's something wrong. They think there's something wrong. It's because there is wrong. I think the other monster they're gonna fight is a monster called Destroya. This is Destroya. He's much bigger than Godzilla and Kong combined. Sorry if it looks like this. It looks like a goddamn action figure, because that's the only thing I could find. So if it looks like an action figure, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is what Destroya looks like. He's much bigger than Kong and Godzilla. I feel like this is the monster that they're gonna have to go up against. And yeah, I tried looking up like big giant foes for like Godzilla, and Destroya popped up, and I just picked a random one. I feel like this is the one that's gonna have to fight. That's gonna end up fighting Godzilla and Kong. I'm pretty sure this is like one of the baddest ones ever. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, this is one that I found, and I think Kong and Godzilla are gonna have to fight this guy, or fight this monster. It's pretty much gonna be like one of those Batman versus Superman things, if it's true, where Batman versus Superman got assisted by Wonder Woman. They had to fight Doomsday. They both fought a monster, and Godzilla and King Kong are about to fight a monster called Destroya. So yeah, that he looks pretty cool. But yeah, if I'm right, that's gonna be so sick, and it's gonna be a sick looking battle. But it better not be like the second or the final battle in the second movie where it was the brightest thing in the world. So yeah, or the first one where it was dark. But yeah, if this is true, I'm excited to see it. I also want to point out earlier, Nerdy also made a conspiracy about the Mecha Godzilla, where that's a different Godzilla, and where like it could also be like a threat to the world. That's why he's more of a protector and wants to destroy that shit. But for some reason, he's killing people. He thinks that like that's a different Godzilla, and he doesn't really understand most things, I guess. But he thinks that the Godzilla from King of the Monsters ended up dying, and then they got its skeleton, and then they put that skeleton inside the Mecha Godzilla, so Kong and Godzilla will have to fight out the Mecha Godzilla. That's a pretty good big brain thing that came out of him. So, well, that's pretty much what I had to say. Not the conspiracy theories, that would make it sound like Godzilla's being hidden by the government. The theories behind or Godzilla versus Kong are pretty crazy, and they're pretty cool to hear and all that stuff. It's cool to hear like everybody's opinion and stuff, and how there's so much of that stuff, which is really cool to hear. And there's just a lot of hype, and I'm excited for this movie and stuff like that. So yeah. I can't wait for the movie, and yeah, I'll have to stay tuned. But yeah, anyways, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.